anecdote. If you don't know, if you're not watching live or don't know me, I identify myself as a mixed race black woman. I'm a light-skinned black woman, and I was doing a show at Long Island Jewish Hospital for their staff members, and I sang Ella Mae's Boot Up. Firstly, I hate that song, but I like singing it, actually. Like, it's, it's a crowd pleaser. People like it. Cool, whatever. But now people are tired of it. But I said something at the beginning of it that I didn't realize was super problematic. And as soon as it left my mouth, I knew. And so I'm all for people owning up to their biases. Right. And so, like, I was just like, yay, Ella Mae bringing light-skinned curly-haired girls back in style. And then I was like, dumbass, we've always been in style. Like, you know what I mean? Always been in style. I just always haven't been in style because I'm a plus-size light-skinned woman with curly hair. So that was just my little thing, because colorism is a real thing, and I know a lot of my friends who happen to be dark-skinned take real offense to that, but also my light-skinned friends don't understand that they actually have like an issue with it. I'm grateful that my grandmother was dark-skinned, and that my mother's caramel. We just kind of got lighter as the generations went on. So we did. So I wanted to acknowledge that, because it's something that's oftentimes not looked at. And colorism is a huge issue in the black community and any communities of color, because you have this standard of beauty that is Eurocentric, and I don't want that to be a thing, because I don't actually personally feel that way. I just said it because I was excited because there was another light-skinned curly-haired girl in the thing, and I was just, she's not even that good, my opinion.
Oh my God.
In my humble opinion, but she's not very good. I have opinions about everybody and everything. Yep. So that's why I guess I'm kind of good at this. Anyway, I want to introduce our guests for this evening. As we intro them, I think there's clapping on here. I'm going to try to get no, I'm serious, Rebecca. Yes, there we go.
I need it. Ooh.
Hey. So our first guest today is singer, songwriter, fellow Long Islander, Rebecca Soul. You have to be proud of that. I don't like when people flinch.
At Long Island?
Yeah.
I feel like nobody's proud of it, so I feel weird being proud of it.
Ooh,
Long Island.
People
no trains. Yes. My favorite.
That's my favorite. So that's Rebecca Soul. Tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
My birthday was on Thursday.
Yeah. Happy belated birthday. Al.
Thanks. I had a show on Friday.
Yes, you did. Show, single release show.
Release show. They both sold out because I hit up everybody I knew in my life, and I was like, "What are you doing? Are you free? What are you? Check in with me Wednesday.
Right,
it's Wednesday. What are you doing? What are you? Can you?" So it's sold out.
Awesome.
My first time with the live bands. That was cool. I like to write music, and I like to play music, and I like to sing.
And she's going to sing for us in studio, ladies and gentlemen. Are you excited?
The applause again.
Can you hear it?
Yeah,
okay,
I hear it.
Okay, good. And our next guest is Mr. Corey Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, composer, trombonist, cyclist, Baltimorean, all day. Though he lives here now, he lives uptown now, right? You okay? So tell us a little bit about yourself and what's popping.
Oh man, I'm Corey Wallace. I'm a trombonist. I'm a band leader.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
You're not used to microphones because you're a trombone player.
The sound goes out, man. But I'm from Baltimore. Lived in D.C. Lived in a couple different places, but I'm here. I've been here for the past 5 years. And, I have my own band, the Corey Wallace Dubtet.
Yes.
We play around. We're actually playing tonight. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. But, out here making music, healing people, trying to better the situation in the world. So
Lovely. So today we're going to actually start a new little game. My brother has gotten me into all things Dan Le Batard. If you don't know who Dan Le Batard is, he is a TV and radio personality on ESPN. He's actually on ESPN Ooze right now with the Dan Le Batard show. And there's a show called Highly Questionable, and they play this game C or No, because his dad's Cuban, he's Cuban, I believe. So C or No. And so we're going to do a play on that. It's called What's Really Good With That, or I'm Good, Love, Enjoy. So I'm going to, ask these two lovely guests about a couple topics that they may or may not like to talk about, and their answer is going to be, what's really good with that, or I'm good, love, enjoy, because we've all said those things to somebody before. So, especially living in New York.
Yeah.
So the first one, and these are a little deep, but we'll see. So the first one is guns and the depth of this problem.
I'm good, love, and joy.
All right.
I mean, I got an opinion on everything, but
I know. You know.
Not today.
I'm good, Sam.
Not today. Not today.
Not today. What about you, Rebecca?
What's really good with that?
All right. We got one. So what the next topic is...
It's always going to be 50-50, so we're going to have to agree somewhere.
Yeah, right.
I'll
You
meet
will.
halfway.
You will.
I'll meet
halfway.
you. I'm down.
We got it. We got
That's
it.
lovely. If anybody's watching on live, Rebecca is drinking tea. Not champagne or Miller High Life, the champagne of beers, which it kind of looks like. Shout out to those 40s in college. Anyway, the next one is Miami Dolphins kneeling decision. I like sports, y'all.
Yeah. What's the first?
What's really good with
What's
that?
really good with that? I forgot already. I've been prepped and I still forgot. Dropped the ball. But
it was really good with that.
What's really good with that? All right. We like the Miami Dolphins kneeling decision. We're going to talk about that. Next one. A transgender woman has been denied her prescription in an Arizona CVS, where in Arizona it is legal for pharmacists to not fill prescriptions based on personal and moral judgment.
I like to let you answer first so I can decide my answer.
What's really good with that?
Okay.
What's really good with that?
All right, we got another one.
I'm ready to talk.
So this one's a little more like esoteric, I guess the right word is. Quote, the promise of, quote, America, unquote, and what it means as an artist.
I feel like a couple of these are going to lead the whole show and
Word.
take up all of our time.
You're right.
If you want to talk about this so-called promise of America, is this what the show's dedicated towards?
I mean, kind of.
All right, look. What's really good with that one?
Okay, all right. So I think we're
really good with that.
All right. All right, I like that. Okay, both of y'all. So I'm going to give you all... Dag. So I guess these were good topics that we all just want to talk about. Maybe we'll get to as many as we can. Let's just do one that we're definitely going to talk about, and that's going to be self-care and what it means as a musician.
Yep.
Because I think that's an important topic. And I think we all have varying perspectives. So since we're all different people, so that fills in. And then the last one is going to be Akon, Chance, and Beyonce, the privatization of our equity. I like these titles, and that's only because I
made them.
Did you write them?
I did write them.
I'm proud of myself. They are good titles.
Thank you.
They're good.
One day I'm going to write a book.
Do it. Yes, I'll buy it.
Look. It's a This Room bestseller.
Hey, there you go.
Look,
Thank you.
got 3 copies
I got 3 copies sold already. Sold out for this room. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So those are our topics for the day. We are going to not get into those topics yet since we've got them here. Actually, I'm not talking about that.
But
one.
not yet.
But not yet. So hold your horses. Hold your horses. So before actually we get into the interviews, let's talk about what you all are listening to right now. Because this is a music show and you all are musicians. Yo, my thing is drunk. Hello, everybody that's here. I'm going to wave at you. Hi, guys. So what are we listening to these days? Let's talk about it.
You go first.
I was waiting for you to start.
You go first.
You did. She crossed her
I had
hands.
my
She was
listening
like,
ears on.
Oh,
Nah, because you're a jazz musician, so I feel like you out here with all like the crazy like
I
extensions
listen
on
to
the
it
stuff.
all. I listen to it all.
he does listen to it.
I
all.
believe it.
Yeah.
All right. I've really been into Jasmine Sullivan lately just because her voice is crazy to me. And she has these riffs that I aspire to. Like, she doesn't even, it doesn't sound like she means to, but it'll be like in like no time, she could just do this riff and it sounds sick and it sounds clean. And I aspire to have that level of riff.
Riffdom?
Riffdom. Exactly. I like that word. And
Thank you.
I want to use
I'm going to write that down.
I think you
Riffdom.
should.
Riffdom.
I think if you have singer guests
Here.
on, you should be like, it's Riffdom time.
It's
Let's hear it.
Riffdom time. So that's funny because I don't like
new segment.
a new segment.
Segment
Oh
of
gosh,
the show. Riffdom.
Riffdom time.
Yeah.
Don't actually like riffing, so that's hilarious.
Really?
No, as like a
I
personal
noticed
thing,
you
and
don't that
I
much.
don't. I do not.
But like your
Oh,
your voice is very like clean.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you. I worked really, really hard on
I
that.
watch your
Thank you.
stories.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You know, we got to be out here like as singers appreciating each other because
Yeah.
yo, she be riffing, but she's selling herself short about not being on Jasmine Sullivan level yet. But you gonna be there. You're gonna be there.
Oh.
You got this.
Oh.
I receive it. Amen.
Yes, amen. Amen. It is
amen.
Sunday. Jasmine Sullivan, what else?
Jasmine Sullivan. Who else? Let's see. Oh, Hiatus Coyote is really dope.
Nice.
I've been getting deeper into their music.
Nice.
Anderson .Paak I just love because like
Nice.
he stays. He doesn't have like a crazy voice,
No.
but I love his he makes it work for him.
an
Yeah,
honest voice.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, it's a very
yeah.
honest voice.
Mhm.
I equate him to Bill Withers sometimes.
Look,
I love Bill Withers.
It's
Yeah.
a whole slew of singers from our past that are still present,
Yep.
but whole slew of singers from our past that did not have the prettiest voices, but it wasn't about the prettiest voice. It was about the
They
message.
made it work.
Yep.
Come on, we talking about Bobby Womack.
Woo!
You know,
Ooh.
Yes,
Like-
yes.
that's
yeah.
the way I feel about you. Come on
With
now.
the
Sing,
vocals.
Corey!
Yeah,
Sing,
yeah.
Corey!
We'll put a little,
Ooh.
scratch up in it.
I like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Probably. I've been trying to not even force myself, but like get into other styles of music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like there's this country song called something Back of a Cop Car. Keith Urban sings it. I'm more there for the songwriting. He literally wrote a song about how he fell in love with a girl in the back of a cop car, and
Oh,
I
wow.
think that's crazy because how do you write a song like that specifically? Because like a lot of songs are like, oh, I love you because you smell good and you deal with my farts.
Yo,
Like,
that is,
that's what
but
they're
that is
about.
that is
That's
the
what I like too.
that is like the niche though of country music. Like I lived in Ohio for 3 years, so a lot of the
Oh.
people that I
Yeah.
became friends with were like, "You've got to listen to country music," and I'm like, "No, I don't." But
There's some I can't.
I was low key obsessed with Thomas Rhett. He had
Okay.
this song out called "You Make Me Wanna," not the Usher. Like he didn't do an Usher cover,
Yo, man.
but like his chorus was like, "You make me wanna pull on over to the side of the road, slide on over, let me hold you close, and tell you everything I'm like." It was such a good song.
Right,
it was
right,
such
right,
a good
right.
song.
Yeah, I think
and then
yeah.
because the songwriting's always so dope. It's a songwriting business.
Look, it's 1:15. I'm a little drunk, and I
Hey.
need you now.
Yeah.
That
Real,
song,
Hey.
real.
that song
Let
Woo!
him know.
in there.
It-
So,
oh, like swimwear. Like swimwear.
Yes, yes.
yeah.
All right, Corey. So what are
Yeah.
you listening to these days?
All of what Rebecca just said.
Mm-hmm.
All of what Rebecca just said, and so then we're gonna jump into it because out in the hallway you told me that
Oh God.
this group is not of your favorites, but I really
Oh.
like the internet, and
Same.
I like them, but I found Hiatus Coyote first, and you know there is a polarity between them, but Hiatus Coyote is definitely one of my groups. First album was completely different from the second album,
Yeah.
or vice versa, and but the second album is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So the internet has the new one out. I like a lot of what a lot of artists are doing now. They're dropping EPs of
Yes.
like
When it's
5 to 6 songs as opposed to 12 songs, 13, 15 songs.
Yep.
So it has your attention, and a lot of people were kind of like repulsed by it at first, but then you have those artists dropping those EPs with higher frequency.
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting because there are some artists that are doing like 5 songs, 4 songs, and then there are artists that are doing double albums
Right.
these days.
Right,
so
right, right,
it's a
right.
real interesting
Well,
dichotomy happening.
It's really cool because you do have artists that spend all the time on in the studio. They actually do it, not just say, "I'm in the studio.
Yeah,
I'll call
exactly,
you back."
exactly.
No, it's like they're actually in the studio creating music all the time,
Yeah.
and they have a chamber of music, just like Prince and Michael Jackson and Stevie
Yep.
Wonder and all the other greats that did that and submitted their whole life to music. So you have those cats, and then you have others that are just all right, this is my output for now.
Yeah.
Like Chance,
Yep.
the rapper, just tweeted the other day, all right, I don't have the album, but I'm going to drop these four
Four
singles on you.
Yep.
And then Donald Glover.
Yep. Childish Gambino.
He
I haven't
just-
listened to his yet.
Man, those
Yeah.
two songs, and they're like 6 minutes in length.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, yeah.
So
and they're
that's
about
interesting.
summertime. So it's like
Oh,
you put,
gotta listen
and
to that.
it's literally like you put a higher quality out, and you do it with more frequency, or
Yeah.
like a higher frequency.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a pretty dope thing, and then there's other musicians. I just learned about Javier Santiago, who's a dope artist. Nicholas Payton's on the album. A couple other cats are on the album, and he actually had a show at New Blue.
His name sounds real familiar. Okay,
Yeah, he
that's
had a
why. Yep.
at a show at New Blue, and like one of my friends was playing with him. I think I had a gig that night, but it was like, yeah, man, I wish more people had come out to that. You know, I was
Word.
like, but New Blue is kind of hard to get to in the city.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still a growing venue. But anyway, a whole bunch of cats, man. Who are you listening to?
Yeah, I haven't actually been listening to a lot lately. I listened to the stuff that they just released off of the new stuff that they found of John Coltrane's.
Oh yeah,
I listened to that. I listened to actually Jade Nova. I don't know if she just dropped a full project, and I'm obsessed.
Okay.
It's R&B, but then it has really nice songwriting and like production for R&B today. I think it's a little different.
Okay.
That's really it. Like, and I just listened to the new stuff. I just listened to Chance's new stuff.
Okay.
I haven't listened to Childish Gambino's yet. I'm not a huge fan of his, but I respect him.
Right.
Hold
on.
Yeah.
So check this out.
I know.
It's not even going to be about that. But check this out. This is how much music is recycled, and we kind of like have a like we forget about it because this is how short our memories are. So Sierra just put out a song called Level Up. It's dope. You know, it's up tempo. Got that dance, you know, I'm out here in the summertime.
Jersey.
Yeah, I'm like all about it. The melody is straight up robbed. It robbed Lucy Pearl's Dance Tonight. Look what the cat did, me and a couple friends. And then the third part of that does a little different, but then it comes right back to it. So I'm like, how do you still, like, soul heads know Lucy Pearl?
Yes.
They dropped one album, and it was like, peace be, I'm out.
Yep.
But that's their most famous song.
Yep, it is.
And she just straight robbed them.
And you know, that's the issue I have with music today. I know people sampled when we were younger, and it's, you know, we recycle music, but I feel like it's at an alarming rate right now.
Yeah.
And it's low key crazy.
It's like they come from like, nobody's gonna recognize this.
And it's like,
and I'm
no,
like, you do your homework. Like, I feel like people from the 80s babies, like, were still raised by, you know, I mean, I'm not saying we were still raised by our parents, but we were all up in our parents' music collection.
Absolutely.
Like, forced and like, oh, this is tight. Let me figure this out.
Exactly.
You know, or this record is nice.
I mean,
let me put this on.
Listen,
you know?
At my high school dances, the songs that I heard most frequently were Alicia Myers' "I Want to Thank You," "Ain't No Stopping Us Now." Like, you know, it was just like a black cookout at my high school dances.
Absolutely.
It didn't matter what was popping. Like, those were always played and everybody danced.
Right.
So, you know, if you have the good DJ, the right DJs, you'll hear music from all over.
Absolutely.
And so recycling these songs sometimes is like, bruh, like we
heard it already.
We heard it already. Like, be a little more,
I hear you.
you know, creative. So they mentioned the internet. I'm not a huge internet fan.
Right.
I want to know why.
I am not a huge internet fan because for me, I like to hear dynamic. I'm a dynamic music listening person, and there are no dynamics for me there's not enough change for me.
Yeah,
I'm not a vibey person. Like, the vibiest I'll get is
You're like,
I know. I'm trying to think.
Vibey music?
No, so I listen to Soulection Radio, but that's literally just to put it on in the background. So I like to be an active listener of music normally.
Yeah.
And I also, if I move, like, I like to bop. I'm from New York. I don't like songs that don't have like a bop. Like, if I can't move to it, I can't really listen to it.
See, I
regularly.
think there's a lot of dope vibey music, but I think there are a couple people that started to do it, and then everybody else was like, all right, this is the new trend. Let me do this.
I think,
or it's easy enough to grasp.
It is.
And then a lot of people do it, and now it's saturated. The radio is saturated with it, or like what's coming out. You know, a lot of these quote unquote soul singers are just like, let me just lay in the middle of the road here with this vibe, and I'm like, but nothing's happening. It's very stagnant. So I don't
for
like,
me,
I don't like it
there's
sometimes.
and for me, a lot of that stuff has no soul. Like they claim to be a soul singer, but the only thing that they have that's soulful are, and I'm putting quotations up if you're listening,
I see it.
Is the idea of riffing and running. Like that's what people equate to soul. And I'm like, no, Janis Joplin was soulful, but Joni Mitchell was also soulful, and it's because of the music that they were singing and the message, right? And the the authenticity of what they were singing. So like a lot of people are authentic, but I just don't I just don't want to listen to it. I have very selective ears though. Like super it's bad sometimes. But I try.
Look, it's cool.
Yeah, and I think there's so much more that goes into me like I'm white. So like for me to be out here like, oh, I sing soul music, like I don't even like saying that necessarily. I'm like, I sing music. I make music. But like I meet white people who are like, yeah, I sing soul music and like it's great. And I'm like, okay, like what are some soul artists that you know? And they can't name anybody.
If they start with Joss Stone, just
stop. No,
just
but
stop.
like if you can't call yourself in my opinion, you can't call yourself a soul singer and not know any soul music. Like
Absolutely.
you can't go into the genre and not understand the roots of
Absolutely.
it. Because then you're not. That's not what you're doing. And like you were saying,
you're imitating poorly.
Yeah, and you can't sit there and be like, oh, I can do a really nice riff and that's it. No, like you need to know what goes into it. If you're trying to imitate it and make it and grow from it and grow it and make it your own, you need to know what you're growing. Like you need to know what you're grabbing from. You can't just come into the genre and be like, oh, I listen to Beyonce sometimes, and I listen to Joss Stone like once. Nah,
no, that's not it.
I listen to Adele. Okay, and like,
a lot of that happens a lot in hip hop as well.
Yes,
you know, that's why you have a lot of rappers sounding the same. You know, and it's a cool trend that's going on now. You know, the way Migos raps and a lot of cats that are just similar to that. But then, you know, and it's a breath of fresh air when you have some cats that are like they could be young, but then they have a flow about it that like, oh man, this is Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah,
like, but he's only 18.
Exactly.
Or like there are a lot of young women out here that are just have studied the lineage.
Yep.
And I'm, you know, and I'm like, she sounds like Wu-Tang. Like all 36 chambers.
Yep. Word.
Like did she add a chamber?
Exactly.
I don't understand.
I don't know what's happening.
You know, but it's dope when you understand the lineage, and of course when what's supposed to happen in the music that you refer to as jazz or improvisational music, you study the history and then you are able to create your own.
Exactly.
And then when that happens in other musics, it's a beautiful thing as well. But you have to do it.
You have to do the work.
You have to do it to some extent and to a large extent.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it doesn't stop when you've made it.
No.
You know, like
that's a lot of my issue with these. Oh, well, Wynton Marsalis, of course, but also like a lot of other people that aren't as well known, especially in the jazz community, that are just kind of stuck in their jazz ways.
Right.
But that's with every space. You know, there are some people that are still living like, and my band was birthed out of neo soul, right? That's where I was really influenced. But there are some people that are still like neo soul's the only way, and nothing. You know what I mean? Like these absolutes are really, really hard to actually create in, and that's
as an artist you have to give yourself flexibility and room. Like you can't just be like, I am neo soul, so I'm not going to go out of this like little thing. Like if you happen to branch into like alternative or like a little bit of rock or a little bit of jazz, like cool, then that makes it then that makes it like your own style, and then that's really your own music. But like Corey was saying, like like if you have those roots, then you can grow from them. But if you have no roots, like to me, it sounds artificial.
But if you have no roots, how can you grow?
Ooh.
Oh,
the applause are my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy like an app and just do that
there
anytime.
There are so many apps. There are so many sound effect
someone
apps.
Does something I like, I'm going to be like, you get.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I didn't want that one.
You were like, oh my God.
I know. I'm sorry. So, as we cock a gun on the sound machine.
Boom.
No. We're not going to get into the topics yet. So I want to talk a little bit about you guys really quickly.
Okay.
Who you are, where you're from. You know, we kind of talked about, but where you're from. But Rebecca, talk to us a little bit about your influences, and not just who you're listening to, but who you've studied, and where you want to be placed. Someday.
So like my favorite singer ever is Donny Hathaway. I like
real claps for that one.
Yes, I hear
him.
I don't know why. Like my mom played "I Love You More Than You'll Ever Know" that song, and like there's just something about his voice that just like gets me. And all his songs happen to work for my voice, like in his keys. So I'm just like, I could just sing along with you, Donny Hathaway, all day. Like I'll play your album all day. Right. Like him and Roberta Flack did like an album together, and I'm just like, I've replayed that so many times. Like I'll clean to that. I'll like just write notes. Like, okay, so Donny Hathaway, Bill Withers, Minnie Riperton is really dope. I've been getting into a lot more. She has one down memory lane. Like,
yes.
I was driving home at like 3 in the morning. Yes. And like, it was started playing, and I was like, "What's
That's
this?"
Yeah.
Ooh, like, I'm
real.
driving home
It's
high.
real.
Otis Redding is really good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Aretha Franklin. I really like Corinne Bailey Rae. I know she doesn't necessarily fall in.
Oh
Like,
God, I love her so much.
Yeah.
I love her because she doesn't sit here. Like, when I was younger, I had no volume to my voice, and like no matter what I did, like I just didn't have it. Like, I would crack and be in the shower like, and like,
Right.
but I could like sing, but I could sing like Corinne Bailey Rae. So like, I wanted to be a singer when I was younger still, but I was like, how am I gonna do this if I can't like belt? Like, because
Sure.
in my head, everybody needs to belt. Like, Beyonce's out here belting, Alicia Keys is out here belting in high
Poorly.
keys. Yeah,
Poorly.
but I love Alicia Keys. So I'm like, how am I gonna do this? So I listened to Corinne Bailey Rae, and that was kind of like an inspiration for me. Like, yo, I don't have to belt.
Just like a star.
Yeah,
Across.
and it's still just as beautiful, and
Yeah.
like,
Beautiful song.
yeah,
Oh, such a good
pulls
song.
you in. So I like her, and then I've like grown to more genres because I'm forcing myself to, or else I'll just stay in. So like,
Sure.
I love Isley Brothers, like all these different like
Right.
people from,
Hello,
yeah.
hello, hello.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead, show him. Let him
No,
know.
no,
Let him
no,
know.
it's
Show
okay,
him the
it's all right.
vocals.
It's all right,
Singing
it's all
the
right.
whole
I know the whole show.
The
Just
whole
singing.
show.
That's what happens when you
Yeah.
have singer friends.
Exactly.
I'm used
Just
to
sing the
this.
whole time.
That's
The whole
all
time.
my friends just sing in anything. Anything. We can say anything and they'll start singing. Yeah.
So what are your hopes and aspirations? You're from New York. New York is a place that people come to, as we'll talk to Corey about. People come here to make it.
Yeah.
How does that,
Yeah.
as a New Yorker, how does that factor in for you? What's kind of your view? Where do you see yourself in this whole thing?
Yeah. So, good question. Where do I in 5 years? It's a job interview, low
please
key.
not. No.
Yeah. So as far as lately, I've just been in the mindset of like, it's now or never, which is literally the reason why I did the 2 shows. Like, nobody was like sitting there like next to me like, Rebecca, I think you should do a show. Like, nobody.
Yeah.
I was just there like, yo, I'm not getting these venues that I want to sing my music because I'm not asking anybody for it.
Bet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I literally was like, okay, let's do this. So I hit up venues, I hit up musicians who I admire, and I was like, yo, I could pay you this, and it's this date, and I want these rehearsals. Can you do it? And some people said yes, some people said no, and like now it's just a matter of like the single again was like people who are close to me who are like, Amber's on, like, you know, Amber.
Oh, yeah.
Amber's in the beginning. We're talking.
I love it.
Yeah, like, and this is the first time I've done stuff where it's like really me. Like, I've had producers in the past who like made stuff with me, and then like there were always contract issues or like little issues that would just like make stuff annoying and kind of for me sour the work.
Absolutely.
Like, I still put it out, but I was like, nah. So this is the first time in my life where I'm like, you know, I'm not waiting for anybody. I'm just gonna go because I'm like, I turned 23 and I'm like, yo, if I'm not starting, like, it's not going to happen because
Very
nobody's
true.
going to give it to you.
No.
So it's just time to like go and like
Yeah.
hit up the people you know. And I find like too, I'm talking a lot, but I find too what you need is around you. So like I did the keys on my track myself, and then the person who was mastering it plays piano professionally, but I was like, I don't know if I have professional keyboard money to pay
Right,
you.
exactly.
And he was like, nah, I got you. So it's like the people you need are around you,
Yep.
Right.
but it's up to you to take advantage of that and grow
Absolutely.
with it. And like, you have to do it. You have
Right.
to take the first step, and then people around you are going to help if they see it in there, if they want to.
Absolutely.
And I've had a lot of people help me, so I'm really grateful for that.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that
Right.
really answered your question.
Hey,
Yeah.
that
I'm gonna
did.
sip my
That's-
tea.
Sip your tea. Sip your tea. As you sip your tea, let's move to Corey. Mr. Corey Wallace.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what made you come to New York. Corey's a jazz musician, so as we know, well, I mean,
Corey's a musician.
Corey's a musician who plays jazz.
What
I'll
is
say-
jazz?
Who makes the music?
Bro, really? We about to do that right now?
Yeah.
That's
I've noticed
hilarious.
that
That's everything.
sorry, musicians who play a lot in
Improvise.
jazz
Yeah.
don't like to be called jazz musicians.
That's new.
It's just
I
it is.
found
it
that's
is
a new
It is
thing.
new. And it's recent. It's very recent over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But recent in the sense of the masses. But I've always had a problem with it. Just like, you know, the Legends have had a problem with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so what is jazz? It's so vast.
It is
You know,
very vast.
and you have music that comes from India. What is it called? Indian music. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have if we talk about music comes from Nigeria, you call it Nigerian music. Many people call it African music, but you have how many continents how many countries in Africa?
Yep.
So music from Brazil, from this is Brazilian music. So where does this music come from? Why are we not acknowledging the people that made it?
Very true.
So, there's a lot of roots to it.
So with that, though, do you think that there is a what's the word? Do you think that there might be a problem with calling it American music? Because it is American music. It's our American music. Jazz, as what it's called, was created from many different influences on American soil. Yes, okay. Yes, maybe, no.
The faces.
Where from? Which? It's Black American music.
It's Black American music.
It could have influences from Europe.
Absolutely.
But where did the music come from?
Black Americans.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, do you think not having a word for that, calling it Black American music, I agree with 10,000%, but there's also is R&B jazz. R&B is Black American music, right?
Exactly.
So I just wonder on a bigger level with people that, what's the word? With people that are not trying to figure things out, but maybe trying to spin things negatively. I want to know why you don't call it, or why you call yourself what you call yourself as a musician. Because I agree with just playing improvisational music, but R&B is not improvisational, so I wouldn't say R&B singers or jazz music singers.
I mean, then if you want to talk about specifically what you do, you can explain that, but there are many different. It's a big umbrella, and there are many different parts to Black American music. So, since we're in a country that continues to ignore the contributions of Black Americans, this is my stand to be like, this came from us.
Yes.
And I mean, so you have a problem with it? Okay, so let's talk about the
let's
problem
talk about
now.
It. Yeah.
Because where are the lies? Where I'm speaking facts about this.
Facts.
So like it's an agenda.
No, I like that.
I think with
that.
a lot of the things in the last couple to 10 years, I've continued to wake up about a lot of things, and so nobody's going to do or talk about a lot of things. Some of these things I'm going to have to talk about, and I'm fine with that because nobody else is doing it, and it's important to me. If nobody else is going to talk about it, it's going to get brushed away. But when you come to me and you want to talk about things, we're going to have to talk about a lot of things.
So Corey plays with his dubtet at Smalls. He has a bi-monthly residency. Is that still going on?
Yep. Every 2 weeks. Yep.
Is that bi-month? I think it is.
Bi-monthly and bi-weekly are synonymous, actually, if you look at it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So,
anyway.
I mean, I use both of them.
Yeah. So, with that, the audience at Smalls is very interesting because you have it's a kind of like a little microcosm of New York at Smalls. Yeah. Do you find that that's a traditionally jazz venue?
Right.
With this stance, have you spoken about it on the bandstand, or have you spoken to people in the audience? Because I'm interested in that, because I think there are a lot of ears and minds that wouldn't look at it that way, but that would possibly get a lot from that. Has there been an instance in that venue specifically?
All the time.
That's
when you deal with this music and you'd like my band to be there, which are of the most talented in New York and in the world, we are all standing very firmly on the shoulders of giants. Absolutely. And our ancestors and our elders. So, that's what you're going to get. And people don't expect to hear that. They want to hear music, and I get some looks that are like, man, just shut up and play. And I'm like, well, this is my platform, right? Until I get fired.
Exactly.
Until I get fired, you're going to get this.
Yeah.
And so, I talk about it all the time.
Good.
There are many original compositions that reflect what's going on now. I have a tune entitled "In Utter Disbelief." for Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, and countless others that are still being counted. But so I talk about that. I talk about I have another one entitled Depends on Who You Ask, which relates to truth and history.
Yeah.
You know, you look at history one way, or you get it from one way. You get it from textbooks. You have one viewpoint. You get it from the actual people who lived it. You have another viewpoint, depending on who you ask, actually.
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
You know, it's important to me, you know, that people get, you know, more truth in their lives. You know, I'm trying to get more truth in mine. So,
yeah,
you know, like it's very important, because the music is all about truth. You know, you all of these stories, regardless of the music you listen to, you know, that's why people love it so much.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a good friend the other day and was saying, I don't think people really understand how big a part of music is in their lives. Yeah. You know, like it's
absolutely.
You know, I mean, if they did, we'd all be paid like doctors
absolutely.
Or more. You know, because it affects us mentally and emotionally.
Absolutely.
So without that, you know, mental and, you know, emotional self-care, which could be a segue, but I'm gonna leave that up to you. Without that, you know, we're very distraught people.
Absolutely.
You know, like so many songs, Donny Hathaway's many Donny Hathaway songs.
Many Donny Hathaways,
you know, but you know, like they just have spoken to me. I played a very special one at my father's funeral with a bunch of my friends that he loved, you know, because they were my good friends and they were becoming a part of the band, the beginning of the Dubtet. And, you know, so that spoke to me very loudly at that time. And so that helped me cope with getting through that day and the many years that have followed.
Absolutely.
So, you know, if people understood how important music was, you know, it would be a lot different.
A lot different.
But, you know, you have to dedicate yourself. I've dedicated myself into being a part of that change. I come from the lineage of Max Roach and Abby Lincoln and Miles Davis and Duke Ellington, people that it's all on the line. Are you going to live by the music and what we're trying to do? Or, I mean, you could take not the easy way out, but you can I choose this way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's going to happen that way. I mean, the music will take care of me.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the message will take care of me, you know. And I've seen struggles from that, but I've also started to grow out of those, and things are starting to come around.
Absolutely.
So,
good.
You know, that's what you have to live by. Those are the decisions I've made to this point. And I can only see that, you know, I have a lot of big brothers and sisters around me, a lot of elders, a lot of, and I know about the stories from our ancestors that have been passed down, you know, so that's kind of where I'm at.
That's amazing. And if you can't, you know, a big thing about music is that, especially as musicians, if you don't agree with it, if you can't feel it in your soul, if you feel like there's something pulling you negatively or away from your purpose, then you need to run in the other direction.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people get so downtrodden about music and the music industry and the music business because the business of it is pulling us in the opposite direction, and always has historically. But if we could only come together as a community to see the value, like you say, to see the cultural value. My biggest issue and problem with the business is that the culture is then pulled out of it.
Right.
And that's with any. And a lot of the times there's so many things that factor into this. And one of the topics that we were going to talk on, and it's going to be brief today, but one of the topics that we were going to talk on is the promise of America and that idea. And it's interesting to me because as a woman living in a predominantly black community, and now it's changing to predominantly Hispanic community, you see the difference. And you see the difference in cultural awareness. And there are pockets, you know, there is such wealth and beauty and joy and I said that already. There's just so much of that in the black community, especially culturally, that the business will never want to support. They will support the things that honor them and honor the dollar. Right. And that goes exactly along with the the idea in complete opposition of this promise of America, because the promise of America is supposedly this cultural melting pot, or this melting pot, or that there's freedom and equality for all, and we all know that that's BS. It might be written on paper, but laws and other things have made it completely opposite of such. And I think our music, I would love to write or teach a class that was just history of the United States through music. Like just looking at the music that was made throughout time to see, because most of our musicians are our storytellers and our truth tellers and our...
You would have to talk a lot about black people.
Oh, wouldn't I? Wouldn't I?
That's some shit.
Isn't it?
Because a lot of times black people are left out of the history.
Aren't
they? It's like you talk about slavery, you talk about the civil rights movement. You talk about Jim Crow.
Yeah.
You talk about a lot of things down that line.
Yep.
Or all the music that's been stolen.
Exactly. So that's all we've contributed to this country.
Yeah. Right. That's it.
Okay. Well, I want to take this history class.
Ain't that? Yeah. So I think it's an important thing to acknowledge.
Right.
Corey, you're a dope person.
And
a dope musician. Oh, thank you.
And you are too.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Rebecca, you are a dope person and musician. You're welcome. We're going to take a brief respite before, well, they are. I'm not. We're going to take a brief respite before we have a performance from Miss Rebecca Soul herself in studio. And I want to firstly just shout out, hold on, I'm coming. Thank you.
Have you ever?
Hey, please, sir, lean on me when times are bad. Okay. I love that song. And you're down. So we've got a lovely friend of mine, Words of Art Photography. That's words with an E, not an O. Has a documentary called Words of Art Photography Behind the Lens. And there's a public screening of it at the world-renowned Nuyorican's Poet Cafe at 236 East 3rd Street next Sunday, July 29th at 3 p.m. sharp. 3 p.m. sharp to 5 p.m. The documentary is about the world of photography from Words of Art Photography and testimonials from clients, and it's a $10 cover. Now, if y'all don't know this man, he does the best, and like he reps himself so hard, and it's real though. You got to. Oftentimes I have a problem. Like I just have a problem with that myself. Earlier in my life, I did. As I've grown, and I'm 34, I feel much more comfortable about myself. And that's also another thing that I have a bias for when listening to people musically, is because it's like, baby, you 20. You got a whole lot of life to live. And I can hear it in your voice. Yeah. When I was younger, I wasn't allowed to sing certain songs because I wasn't old enough to actually sing them. Oh my God. Listen, so shout out to Denise King. She's a woman that I looked up to very, very much so in Philadelphia. She's out in Paris, and she was just playing at Ginny Supper Club. She's amazing. And she taught me a lot, and she taught boo, if you've never been left by your man, you can't sing that song. Right. Like you ain't got it yet. You don't know what it means. Yeah. And man, that is so true for so many of these different songs. And I see it and feel it in the music, and I have a real partnership with the music in that way. So that's possibly why I'm so opinionated. Right. In any way, Rebecca, you ready?
Yeah.
Jada, you ready? Oh, yes. So tell us a little bit about the song that you're going to be performing.
Yeah. So I wrote this song probably about a month or two ago.
Hey.
It's a new song. I found some chords I liked. I wrote it. I actually dragged it. I literally saw this guy and I was like, oh my God, that's bae. But in the song, I made it more than that. Because to just write a song hey,
Your
you
bae?
look good. Like,
no, but that's what
not really what I wanted to write the song about.
Sure.
So I enhanced on that feeling.
I love it.
And I had Amber in the beginning because that's like my best. Amber and I've known since I was 10. That's 13 years. That's my family. Like my mom, when my mom broke her wrist a while ago when that happened, her whole family brought my mom like bags and bags of groceries. Amber does my makeup for like my big shows
because
I'm bad at it and I can't do it.
Yeah.
So like that's my person.
I love it.
Yeah. So
shout out to Amber.
All day.
that's how I warm up.
Shout out to me burping off mic.
Nice.
I did it before too.
Nice.
I walked in and I saw this guy and it was just like, oh my God.
Wait. Was it like, oh my God, or like, oh my God?
It was like, oh my God.
Okay, so tell me, like, what's so special about him?
And like, just like, I don't know. It was just automatic. It was just so sudden. Don't know what it is about you, but I wanna take you home. Don't know what it is about you, but feel like home. Something in the way you smile, the way you laugh, the way you say my name is insane. Really like him, but I could see me loving you, feeling you, wanting you, needing you. Shouldn't be here, but here I am, and it don't feel wrong, no. Feels like home. You are something special, baby, driving me so crazy. If I could, you would be mine. You're something special, baby. If we cross the line,